$30. Why would you want to buy this? Again, the value proposition is just fantastic. $30 on sale, and I'll show you that right now off of AliExpress with shipping, free shipping, and you get it in about a week or two, maybe less if they have them in the States piled up in a warehouse somewhere. But this system is just fantastic. Let's compare it to this system I have, which is RG505, Android based, much bigger screen. That's a 5-inch screen, diagonal screen. I don't think it's 16 by 9, but it's definitely widescreen. It's the same proportion as a PSP OLED screen. Much more memory in it. I think it's just larger. It's more powerful. It has the full Android Play Store on it, so you can download the Google Play Store different apps that actually support a tablet, because it comes up as a tablet, and it's touch. So as you can see, I can swipe, and it's just large. But sometimes I don't want to carry this big bar with me right now. So what if you want to get something like this that is almost disposable? You can carry it, you can bring it on vacation, you can put it in your pocket. The battery seems to last quite a long time, and the screen is decent. It's not OLED, but it's great. It's a great system for what it is. It's got downsides, it's got upsides, but I think it's great. If you buy it on sale on AliExpress or off of a website for, let's say, less than $40, I think you're doing well. I bought this on AliExpress. I think I spent $33 about 2 or 3 months ago playing this. The OS on here, this is Linux based. It is, if I look on here, it is ArcOS 2.0, and this is the February 9th, 2025 edition. I recently updated it, so it's pretty recent. It's got the front end of Emulation Station and RetroArch that's running on it, so it definitely runs every system that you could possibly think of. I'm just scrolling through them. It has RetroArch, so you can go directly into it if you really want to and tweak the settings. Overlay support, everything that RetroArch supports, it has it in here. And if you don't want to play with it, it works fine for most games and most systems. What won't it do? It won't. It's hit and miss for PSP games. Certain PSP games runs fine, and certain ones don't. I took it out of here because I wasn't confident in the way it was supporting it, and I didn't want to go flip-flopping between different emulation engines in order to try to get this to work. GameCube and 3DS games don't run well. Let's put it that way on here. It's not playable. I would see anything that is Nintendo 64, PS1, or Nintendo DS runs and lower runs fine. So that's a lot. That's a lot of games. Now Nintendo 64 might take a little work in order to get that to run, but once you do that, it's fine, and it runs very, very well. So the hardware itself, this is a 3.5-inch screen diagonally. It's an IPS screen, fully laminated, but it's definitely not OLED, but it's fine. It's fine. Again, the price point that's hovering over this whole conversation is $30. 640 by 480. The CPU is RK3326 ARM chip, 35 milliamp hour battery. It's got a maximum consumption of 5 watts. I'm reading right off the list here. It says battery life of 8 hours, charging time of 2 hours. 8 hours, I think that's a little generous, maybe about 6 depending on what engine that you're playing. And it's got a little speaker right here, little 8-watt speaker, but then again it supports 3.5 millimeter input jack here, which I guess you could put a dongle if you want to use wireless, because it does not come with anything that is wireless. It doesn't come with Wi-Fi. It doesn't come with Bluetooth. It doesn't come with any of that. But the way I got around that is using a little dongle like this. Basically, it's just a little Wi-Fi dongle, which I'll put in the description of Amazon. Very cheap. I think I got it for $10. And then I had this little USB-C to USB-A converter just to get it to physically plug in. Once I did that, I was able to update it and connect to the Wi-Fi and get it updated. A lot of people said they couldn't get it to work. It might be the chipset that is on here, and I just got the dongle that had the Wi-Fi chipset that people said worked the most, and it worked just fine. I don't really suggest doing it off of the SD card, and the reason for that is you got to play with the files on the root drive. There are certain files that support the screen, and if you try to boot off of it and you don't have the right file that tells the system how the screen is configured, there's 4 different screen versions, I would assume. If you don't have it just right, it just goes blank and you can't see anything. So it was just more of a pain than good. If I plugged it into Wi-Fi, I did update, it found all the files and it did the update for me. And then you have to tell it within Emulation Station to, instead of using the OS card, use your external card. And the next thing I did is I just basically took the card that came with it, which is a no-name thing, and I had zero faith in how long that thing would last, and I just got a small little, I think it was like a 16 or 32 gig card that's in here just to put the operating system on it, and that's it. I imaged it. It was a Bellina etcher that I used, but I'm sure you can use any other SD card burning and imaging software in order to clone this. Cloned it over, plugged it in, worked just fine. So yeah, it worked real great. It's got Emulation Station as the front end, and I really can't complain. It's everything that you would expect from Emulation Station, including all the Emulation Station themes, especially if you have the dongle. In fact, I'll plug it in now, and it makes a weird sound when I plug this in. Basically, it's the old school cell phone noise that it makes. But yeah, when you connect it, now you should see, yep, Wi-Fi is up. And the way you had to configure that, I'll quickly show you. You have to go into the ArcOS setup scripts, and what you'll do here is you'll see an option for Wi-Fi. So if you go to Wi-Fi, and there you go. It brings you into, it almost looks like the RetroPie sort of screens in order to connect, and you go over here and you just activate it, and once you connect to Wi-Fi, basically all the Wi-Fi options will work. In fact, if I go here, if I go to update now, there you go. So I just recently updated it, like literally about a week or 2 ago. So no more updates. Otherwise it would say the screen here up, yep, I have blah, 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 update. You hit OK, and you just start seeing, again, the Linux command line updates all going across here, the console messages. But yeah, if you go into tools, I think it's either advanced or tools. There it is. That option here, see it says switch to main SD for ROMs. Well, there's the other option, which is switch to secondary SD for ROMs, because it tells it, Emulation Station, to use this or this card. So originally it's configured to use the main SD card for ROMs, and you tell it over here to use the secondary SD card for ROMs, and I already did that, which is why you see that option. You have to do that in order to get this working, and then you can pop this out and copy all the files that you have and want to put on here. But that's really it. I mean, there's a lot of other things. You can change the LED, etc., so forth. I haven't fooled with that too much. It's fine. It's blue and it's red when it's charging, I believe. But it runs great. It really runs great. Let's talk about accessories. I already told you about the dongle, which is right here. And I bought this, which was, again, on AliExpress, or maybe this was on eBay. But it's 3D printed. you can tell it's 3D printed, but they've done a very nice job on printing it, basically. I kind of like the 3D printing texture on the outside for your hands, and you just take this and just slide it in, and it kind of kills the portability, but it is so much more comfortable when you're, especially if you're playing a session for a very long time. I mean, it's very good. Works very well. So those are the two accessories that I suggest. And then maybe a case. You could buy, again, on AliExpress for $3. You could buy a case. You could get it on Amazon too. You could buy a case. So let's talk about what's actually on here, the hardware. You have the power button. There's a reset button here. This is your secondary card. On top, there's nothing. Here's your primary card for your operating system. Here's your volume up and volume down. On the bottom here is your USB on the go, which is where you would plug in your Wi-Fi dongle, and you basically have your charging, your DC, but they're dedicated. They're not swappable. At least I wasn't able to get the card to work on this jack, and I don't think I got it to charge on this one, but honestly, I didn't want to try, to be honest with you. So I just followed the instructions. It says DC charging on here, USB-C, and then USB-C on the go for the dongle, and it works fine. Not really sure what these little openings are. Maybe it helps with cooling. And what I like about the back is, I know some people take this off because you can see the CPU behind here. I just might do that. You got the L1, L2, R1, and R2 buttons, and we'll talk about those controls. And what I really like, I've seen this on other reviews before, here's your battery. So if you could pop that out, so if you use this down and it doesn't hold a charge anymore, you basically use your fingernail, pop that out, and put a new battery pack in. You could probably, as long as the dimensions are the same, you could upgrade it to a higher capacity battery to have it last longer. So on the front, you have a D-pad, you have the A, B, X, Y standard Nintendo configuration buttons, but I'm sure it could be changed, so it could be A, B, and swap these two for a Xbox if you really want to. You have a function button, which actually works pretty good in games. It brings up a menu, and you have start and select, and you hit these two to exit the game. You hit it twice, and it exits the game. I really don't use these joysticks that much, to be honest. I especially for the games that are in here, they work fine, and there's a R3, L3, and seems to be okay. Other than that, it's good. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons, and I'll give you my final thoughts, which I already told you what they were. The pros, price. Again, the value proposition for this and what it does, I think, is fantastic. I totally suggest that it's the right size for the right price, and it supports the right things. The build quality is actually pretty good. I mean, it's built well. Other than it's not water resistant. But you know what? I'm not expecting it to be water resistant. This is not even water resistant, and that's fine. Runs ArcOS. ArcOS is proven. I'm sure you could put another operating system on here if you want. That's another Linux-based operating system. Stick with ArcOS. Definitely upgrade it as soon as you get it. Whether you upgrade it based on the card, and I'll put the website that shows you how to do that. I'll put a link here that will show you the link to Retro Game Core, and he tells you how to upgrade the operating system using an SD card. But again, just go out and get a dongle. And then the nice thing about having the dongle also is that you could use the emulation station scraper, and I use screenscraper.fr, which are fantastic. I think you heard this on my RG505. It gave you basically everything. So if I go here, let's go to TurboGrafx. You can tell it to get little demo videos. Alien Crush. Give it a second. See if we can hear it. You know, gives you a little video there of it running. So, and it could scrape all of your games and ROMs, and it'll give you the demo screen. It'll give you box art, etc., so forth, depending on what emulation station theme that you put on here. I already told you that is an emulation station, which I like a lot. I especially like it a lot for the Linux operating system versions. I've been playing with the Android version, and it runs okay. I don't think it's dialed in just yet, not like the Linux version. As of early 2025, it still needs a little work for the Android side. The controls. A lot of people say they don't like the controls because they're a little clicky, right? They feel, especially these center ones, right? They're a little clicky. I like that. I like that they're clicky. I want to have some kind of feedback. I like micro switches on everything. So this is like, I'll give you an example. I'm going off on a tangent. This, which I just refurbished and I bought. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can feel the micro switches. I put in a HAP joystick in here, and you could hear all the switches. See, I like that. So that to me is not a minus. That to me is a plus. Some people might not like it. The controls are okay. Again, for the price point, for $30, okay is perfectly acceptable. They're satisfactory, right? They work. They're functional. Are they optimal? No. You could probably replace the membrane that's under here, under the D-pad, to make it a little bit better, because maybe the plastic under here, and you could just barely see it under here, is probably maybe a little hard, or you may be able to modify it. Apparently there's like a little connector in here that you can sever to disconnect the up, down, left, right a little bit more. You know what? It's fine. It runs okay. I guess I'm not making money playing these games. This is just if you're standing in line or waiting for a car to get serviced, or I'm at Costco waiting for tires to get done or something, which is what I used it for recently. Again, perfectly acceptable. And again, for the money, going back to the price, which hovers over everything, it's almost disposable. You go on vacation, you lose it or you break it during travel, for example. You might lose your save games that might be on here, which are probably more valuable to you than the actual device itself, right? And it's functional. It works just fine. It's solid. Doesn't twist. It just feels very good. So, what are the cons? Upgrading is kind of a pain in the butt. All right, if you either got to upgrade it using the SD card, or you get a dongle and you're doing it over Wi-Fi, which honestly, that's the way I would suggest doing it, but you have to buy the dongle, which adds another $7-10 to your massive investment that you've already put into this, right? No wireless on here natively without, again, the dongle. There's no Bluetooth, headphone support, nothing like that. Again, the controls are very mid. They're okay, and some people that might be a deal breaker. They're very sensitive and they want perfect controls, and if you want that, the controls again on this, they definitely feel much better. This feels fine. Those are better. These are even better. I get the Nintendo controller, which is sitting over here. It's even better, but again, for the price point and what it does, it's okay. And again, these joysticks, I don't use them that much. I believe, and I got to research this a little bit more. I might do this in the second video, which is more of a deeper dive when I open it up and we look at what's actually inside here, and we could look behind this D-pad. I think these aren't true analog sticks. I think these might be just digital sticks that are masking being analog, or they're analog and they're configured as digital D-pads. So again, there's a question mark on that. More to come on that. I don't use them. I really don't. I think I might use them for ColecoVision, or I might use them for Intellivision, and that's it. And like I said, I took PSP out of here. So my final thoughts are, I think it's a great purchase. It's not bad. It's great when I don't want to take this massive thing, which is functionally much better of a system. But if you want to go somewhere and you want something smaller, but not too small, 3.5-inch screen, runs great. Runs perfectly fine. I totally suggest it. I think you should definitely have this as part of your repertoire. What also this is good for is if you're just starting to get into single board computers and little pocket emulators like this, this is a great way to get started. You're not putting a lot of money into something that's $150, for example. and you want to use something and play with it and get used to Emulation Station or how to update Linux, etc., and so forth, this is the way to go, honestly. Well, I hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much.